There are some shenanigans going on with the newly named Tropical Storm Tammy. What's going on, guys? I'm certified meteorologist Jonathan Kagas. In this video, we're going to talk about Tammy, where it's going, what the new information is, and some of the impacts coming to the Caribbean islands. So here's the deal. A special advisory had to be issued by the National Hurricane Center because Hurricane Hunter aircraft found the storm significantly stronger than was thought. So here we go, a 60-mile-per-hour storm as of the 8 o'clock advisory on October 19th. The 5 o'clock in the morning advisory had a 40-mile-per-hour storm, so significant change there. That is why the 8 o'clock advisory had to be issued, the special advisory. We're going to get into the intensity change, which does show a stronger storm now coming to the Caribbean. But here's what happened. Hurricane Hunter aircraft that took off of Barbados early this morning found wind speeds of 60 miles per hour right there. Let me bring out my trusty arrow right there on the northern side. So it's a little different. It's being helped by some of the stronger trade winds on the northeast side of the storm here. Center over here, that's what these markers represent, the path of the plane to find the center of the storm. The strongest wind speed was up there. Typically, again, when you're looking at a tropical storm or a hurricane, the strongest winds are tightly wrapped around the center. But again, the strongest winds are being found on the northern side of this system. Regardless, the kind of change in forecast was there to account for Hurricane Hunter's finding that much stronger wind speed. So again, 60-mile-per-hour tropical storm as it continues to race to the west. The bend is still coming. There are questions as to how soon that comes. I will show you the models in just 1 second. But we're now looking at the possibility of a hurricane somewhere in the extreme southwest Atlantic or northeast Caribbean. So again, there's an outside shot for hurricane conditions here on parts of the northeast Caribbean, specifically in the British Virgin Islands, into Anguilla, St. Kitts and Nevis, and then Antigua and Barbuda. Those are going to be the main islands where there's that outside shot for hurricane conditions. You see it here, the official forecast by late Saturday night. That's going to be this line right here. It does show a hurricane near Anguilla and just to the east of the British Virgin Islands. So that's something that we're going to be watching closely over the next couple of days, but that has been the main change here with the intensity forecast. Again, here are our friends in Barbados, Martinique. We are still in just to the north of the cone. Guadeloupe, we are in the cone as well. And again, impacts, as I will show you in just 1 second, it do extend outside of the cone. So here now is the close-up. These are all the spaghetti plots here to show the uncertainty, to show each model's representation here of what this storm could do and where it could go anyway. It does appear that direct impacts, or at least a landfall, is not going to be coming to Puerto Rico or the U.S. Virgin Islands. There's still an outside shot for the British Virgin Islands, but closer to the extreme northeast Caribbean. Again, Anguilla, we're going to be under the gun for some of the bigger impacts, relatively speaking. St. Kitts and Nevis again, and then Antigua and Barbuda. Those are going to be the islands that we are really going to be watching for. Guadeloupe, also in here. Dominica, outside shot. Montserrat, we are also talking about the opportunity for the potential maybe for a hurricane watch coming with that upgrade with the higher intensity forecast. Relatively speaking, again, expecting a 65 to 70 mile per hour tropical storm coming toward Guadeloupe-ish and then the Northeast Caribbean. So I want to show you an actual model now for the timeline. This is going to be Friday morning at 9 o'clock. We do have some rain, some gusty winds in Barbados as we get into Guadeloupe and then through the Northeast Caribbean toward Anguilla, Antigua, and Barbuda. The European does want to bend this thing kind of in this direction, keeping the worst of the weather off to the northeast quadrant of the storm. Here we go over here towards the U.S. Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico, British Virgin Islands, appearing to miss, at least on the European representation, appearing to miss out on the worst of this system. Again, a strong tropical storm to potentially low-end hurricane. I will say that with a stronger storm, it will have the tendency to bend further to the north and east. A weaker system, it would have the tendency to cut right through Guadeloupe and then maybe get into the Northeast Caribbean. So those trends are going to be monitored as well if the strengthening of this system continues, if the wind shear backs off. There's still a little tilting of the storm. We always talk about, if you watch this channel And thank you to the nearly 20,000 subscribers that do watch this channel. If you are finding this content helpful, please hit that subscribe button and share it with your friends as we approach 20,000 subscribers. Really appreciate the support and you coming to us and trusting us. Nonetheless, a stronger system goes that way, but we always talk about tropical systems like to be like a good stack of pancakes. You don't want your pancakes to be tilting off the plate or look like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. A tropical system needs to be vertically stacked, all straight up, almost like the Empire State Building. So when it's having some tilting issues, it's hard for it to really strengthen. Again, it looks like some of the strengthening is coming from the northeast trade winds in and of itself, and that's why the hurricane hunters aren't finding the winds strongly anyway right around the center at this point. If this low-level center and that mid-level center can co-locate, then it's going to start to strengthen a little bit further. So that's something that we're going to watch through the day on the 19th and then on the 20th. So here we go, latest rainfall forecast. And again, this is just from the model itself. And again, putting some pretty impressive rainfall numbers here in the Northeast Caribbean. Rosal into St. John's into the Valley. 2 to 4 inches of rain widespread. We could have isolated higher amounts, no doubt. And again, I think the track of this is going to be in flux because of the abrupt finding that the hurricane hunters found with the winds being much, much stronger than what satellite wind data was showing us. So that is highlights. And again, shout out to the hurricane hunters doing the dangerous missions that they do, because all of the structure that they just flew through are now going to go into hurricane models, and we are going to get a much better idea of what Tammy is going to become prior to impacting the Caribbean islands. So there are the strongest rain chances, and I'm going to show you one of those hurricane models in just 1 second, but I do want to just give you a widespread look here, what we could be talking about with the wind gusts. And I do want to caution, this latest data from the hurricane hunters are not in this model. What I'm showing you here is a straight up model forecast. So we could be talking about stronger wind gusts coming to the island. So Barbados, we're looking at maybe 20 to 40 mile per hour gusts. The center is going to stay well to the north of us. It's once we get towards Guadeloupe, once we get towards Antigua and Barbuda, and then once we get toward Anguilla, I think that's where we're going to see the strongest winds out of the deal. So there you go, St. John's. It doesn't look too impressive right there, but I think Friday night into Saturday morning, we could have wind gusts pushing hurricane force, and then same deal for us into Anguilla. So again, this is going to be something that we're watching closely. Now, as I said before, if this does get stronger fast, it will have the tendency to take the worst of the conditions and keep them out over the open Atlantic rather than getting them close to the island. So we're going to have to see if models start biting on that more now that we have a stronger system being kind of all that data being ingested into that. So it's something that we are going to watch closely here. I want to show you now on tropicaltidbits.com. It's a great resource for all of my weather friends out there that like to track this stuff with us. This is the HAFS-A. This is the new hurricane model that the Hurricane Center ran out this year. It's going to replace some of the older hurricane models that we've been accustomed to, the HMON, the HWRF, over the last several years. But here we go where my crosshairs are here. That is Guadeloupe for reference, and it does kind of strengthen it a little bit. I do want to kind of show you, it still looks like it's a weird system. The structure of this, and in tomorrow's video on October 20th, we're likely going to see a much different scenario in terms of what the structure looks like, because now we're going to be able to have really, really good data going into these models. So for instance, here is Guadeloupe, and the HAFS-A shows a landfall on Guadeloupe. So just keep that in mind. It looks like the pressure is 999. So still a middle-of-the-road tropical storm, strong tropical storm. And then it quickly stays in the 9, got to 9.8. Here for reference, there are the British Virgin Islands hanging out over here. Puerto Rico. My face is covering Puerto Rico. Let me bring that full screen if I can. I don't know if I can bring that one full screen, but just to show you again, the center is way out here. Puerto Rico, we might get some rain bands. This is on Saturday evening, by the way, at about 7 o'clock Saturday evening. A few stronger thunderstorms also flaring up again as the system actually strengthens considerably. Look at this thing go nuts once it pulls away from this central Caribbean. Look at that, getting down to 947 in terms of what the HAFS-A is showing. So, I mean, that is a pretty strong hurricane as it lifts north of the Caribbean and then east of Bermuda. So a few things that we are going to watch over the next couple of days, but wanted to hop on here and talk about that there were some shenanigans again. That is all thanks to us having the hurricane hunters being able to get in there, sample what is going on. So now we're going to be able to see what the models react to with the ground truth of the structure, the ground truth of the winds, and what is going on. Of course, we will keep you posted. Again, if you want to stay updated on not only Tammy, if you're a weather nerd and just like weather content, you've come to the right place. Please hit that subscribe button. We are closing in on 20,000 subscribers. It is awesome. It's been great to meet everybody. Please post in the comments where you're tuning in from. Share this with your friends, and we will catch you next time.